Hello everyone. Just wanted to show you this interesting little trick that I discovered in Unreal Engine 4 where you can basically build in-game assets without actually having to use a 3D modeling software and export them into Unreal Engine. And like for example, I made this door with the stairs over here, this little fence with a guard on it, this fence, and this wraparound staircase, or well, rather, this stairs and this wraparound staircase, all within Unreal Engine without having to use a 3D modeling software. And so this is how I did it. So Unreal Engine provides these tools on the right here. If you click on geometry, these are called BSP brushes. At least in Unreal Engine 3, they call it BSP brushes. In 4, I think they just call it brushes. And it allows you to very quickly block out a level. So if you're just like in the early stages of level design and you just wanted to get a feel for how the character is going to interact with the world, you can just throw these primitives on there and it will just create a structure that if you pop in game, it will appear, it's interactable. So it kind of gives you the feel of that, there's a thing here. So it's really great, especially in early level design. Oh, by the way, these also have full collision on this, and so I'll go into all of this within this video. But with the BSP brushes, one of the interesting things that you can do with it is you can actually convert these into static meshes, and then you can also take multiple static meshes and combine them together to create an even more complex static mesh. So very quickly on the BSP brush, we're just going to create, let's say, this box over here. And let's go ahead and just create another one and move it over like so. Now, one of the nice things about this is if you look in details over here, you have the brush settings. Each one of these have their own separate settings. Like for the box one, or actually each one can add and subtract. So if I click on the subtractive part here, you'll notice that it basically carved out this little thing. And in game, you're able to now go and interact with this aspect over here. So let's say this is what I wanted. Let's texture it a bit. So we'll go here and just use some of the Unreal Engine textures. Let's say, let's do metal. Let's do this chrome on the inside. Now, this part's a little bit annoying, is I haven't quite figured out how to multi-select. Like, you can click and then like press Control and then select multiple surfaces and then just like hit this button and it'll automatically do it. But if you take something like the sphere, oh, well, that's nice. Okay, well apparently if you have the material selected ahead of time and you drag them in, it'll make all the surfaces that same color, which is nice. I did not know that. Cool. Well, let's delete this and continue. So I'll just make this little chrome cube. Make sure to get all the sides. Okay, so now that we have this, if we go ahead and click on both of these, this one and the negative, it also helps if you create a new folder and then you put whatever box brush or whatever brush you have within that folder. It just makes it easy to select. But if you select everything that you're using for this particular mesh and then you scroll down underneath brush settings, you may have to click this little arrow here for showing advance. You can click create static mesh So then let's save it. Let's call it Chrome Corner or something. And then if we go to that folder, there it is. There's the static mesh, which is great. But little issue. Right now, this does not have any collision. So if we want to add collision to it, we can just go to this collision property over here, and we can do something like this, which is kind of crude. This whole intersection, unfortunately, has collision because for the collision to work, it will only do based off of convex collisions, and this part here is considered concave, so this part will not work. Like all angles of this have to be obtuse angles. There's no 90 degrees or acute. Well, I guess 90 degrees is fine, but acute angles will not work. So there's ways to get around that. You can use this auto convex tool, which then it will kind of create a more complicated structure, and you can say like, okay, I want more collision count on this and more vertices per collision, so it'll create something that's a little bit more refined. Let's say if we pump this up all the way to the max, like, it's getting closer. Or you can just do it yourself. Now this step will take longer, but it ensures that you will have nice collisions on this. So let's say we start with a box over here. If you just click in here, you can then just use the regular widget tools to literally create the collision. So I want this part here, like so. Okay, that's good. Press Alt and drag, and we're gonna put this to 90 degrees. And move this over here. Okay. And then for the foot, same thing. Obviously, if you have a more complex model, this step will take longer. Like, it took me a little while to do the stairs, but it ensured a nice collisions with the stairs. And alright, well, that's good enough. Let's move it down. Okay, so that's good enough for this example. Now if we save it, you'll notice that we have collision. And if you're concerned about, oh, this is not, it doesn't perform as nicely because he's not, especially on the inside. I had the gaps in my corner over here. Let's click on show simple. So we have like this part here. With the box collisions, you can only get so far. If you go over here and you convert boxes to convex, you can actually get something a lot more refined. I'm not exactly sure why this is true with Unreal Engine, but it is. So now we have something that matches it exactly, as you can see. I'll just do this one real quick. I guess the perfectionist in me is taking over. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Alright, so we have all of these collision boxes matched kind of exactly to the thing. So now if we just jump in game, there, that behaves as it should. Cool. So we have this, and for all intents and purposes, this is a static mesh, and we can do anything that a regular static mesh normally does. But let's say you wanted to add onto it. Let's say I wanted to make a different structure. Let's say one that is 90 degrees over here, and that has a little bar connecting in between. Let's say dragging another BSP brush. Let's make this, where are we? We're on the y-axis, so y-axis will remain 200, that's fine. And we'll make it 50 and 50. Okay, so we have this little connecting piece. And we're going to move this one just in here. Okay. And for the texture, let's just do another metal texture, and let's make it copper this time. Okay, so we have this. And I guess we could leave it like this in our game, but if we want to convert this into a static mesh, this is a little bit more complicated. And we have a BSP brush just here in the middle. So the way that I kind of did this part is I just converted this into a static mesh. Just, let's put it in this folder and just call it, like, I don't know, erase me. Something generic. We don't actually care about this piece. What we care about is all of it together. If we go and select now, since this got converted into a static mesh, if we go and click on all three of these and right click, let's make sure they're all clicked on, and right click, it says convert actors to static mesh. So if we click on this, go to over here and call it, I don't know, Chrome stand. You'll now see that we have our more complex model, and we didn't have to go and recreate these in the BSP brushes. We could actually literally just use the static mesh to create something more complex, which is great. However, collision, as you can see, or at least for the middle part, is, or actually, this might be, yeah. So if we take our new Chrome stand and just drop it into our level, you can see that the collision on this thing is no longer there, which is a problem. But what's nice is if we go and open our new thing from our pre-existing thing, if we have this selected, we can go into the Chrome stand, go to collision, and click copy collision from selected static mesh, which will just copy the same layout that we have as before, which is fine. Even though it is off a little bit, remember we simply just created this new collision based off of some of these old ones. So now we can just match this. And then alt drag over to this one. Now, well, I guess this one is kind of easy. Unfortunately, it doesn't preserve. If you wanted to just rotate it, it rotates everything in place. So we can't really do that and just rotate the object as if it were like a grouped together mesh. So instead, we'll just grab this one and drag it over. And then let's create, or let's just take one of these, drag it over, up, and decrease the width. And there you go. We have, so now we have this one. Save, go back to the level, and there it is. Collision is back. Now, if you're dealing something that is really, really intricate and you don't want to waste all this time to do it, there is another super quick way that you can get exact collision without having to hand drop the collision itself. And that's if you go over to inside of your static mesh tool, if you go down to the collision settings, click on, where is it? Okay, yeah, in collision, go to collision complexity, click this drop down, and then just click use complex collision as simple. And this will, depending on the mesh, this one is kind of simple, so it probably won't be that taxing to the system. But as you can see here, it literally just takes the model itself and then puts a collision directly on the model so that it is exact. And so, like, let's say you made like a chain link fence. If you did this, every single piece of that chain link fence would be wrapped in a collision. But you really have to be careful with the performance afterwards, because like the reason why there's simple collision and complex collision is so that static meshes, when they interact with the simple collision, it's kind of easy, you know, it's like a flat surface, there's a collision there, you can handle it easily. But for a complex collision, it has to take into account every single one of those kind of hit points, or every single one of those colliding aspects. So it really can bog down your game if you decide to do this route. So only do this if you either can't be bothered, or it's not complex, or if it's like a case where it's like a really complex thing, but it doesn't really matter. Like the game is not in itself complex. So use to your discretion. But anyways, this is how I was able to create these type of models, like the stairs. I started with this one staircase, I built it up, and then I put the two together and threw in this other box BSP brush over here to create this platform. And then with the collision, I just went and took the time and created boxes for every single one of the stairs, so that I know that the collision is going to fit just nicely on the stairs, and it's just going to look and feel right. But anyways, just wanted to show you guys that. I thought it was a cool little trick. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I have other tutorials on there. And in the future, I might be doing more Unreal Engine stuff. I might be just doing other programming related tutorials, or really anything. So if I feel inspired again, then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.